guessing you're watching this video because you want to get to know a little bit more about me. Well, my name is Kash Vanessa Johnson, and I come from Harlem, New York. Yes, baby. I'm a little bit of a hustler. I'm a hustler, homie, because you can ask. You can ask about me. You know what I'm saying? Or Google me, baby. Google me. Real talk, guys. Honestly, I like us to have a cool vibe, and this is a place for you to learn, but really, we're going to have a good time. I want you to feel like you're having a conversation with your homegirl who got a little bit more tips or tricks and tools and details and maybe a little bit proper terminology that you can use to kind of get away with having these conversations in a more appropriate manner in certain places. But the bottom line is, I don't want you to feel like you're going to school. Okay. But to understand a little bit more about my background and my work, I happen to go by many names, and your Sexologist Bestie is one. But another one of my true titles that I love is the Autism Mompreneur. I gave myself this title because I became an entrepreneur as a way of becoming an autism mom. And this is actually the thing that took me down the path towards becoming a sexologist. Yes, of course, when I was in school and my teacher was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I didn't raise my hand and be like, I want to teach girls how to suck on a cock. You know, that's not what we were doing. But the reality of the situation is, I find that life tends to lead you in a direction of helping people in a way that you are designed to do so. I happen to happen to an area of intimacy, sex, and pleasure, which is a very taboo place. And I understand that because of that reason, it changes the availability of good access to information out there. There's plenty of people out there with podcast mics that y'all are tired of, and we know it. Sometimes I'm one of them. I get it, whatever. But the bottom line is, at least you can know that when you're here, you're coming to a reliable expert who spent a lot of time growing their skill. But to kind of understand where things got started, back when my son was diagnosed with autism, he was only 2, turning 3, and it was a very, very, very changing period for me. As a mom, I was a first-time mom of a biological child, but this was actually the second child I was raising. My first baby is actually my brother Josh, and he is 10 years younger than I, but because of circumstances in our family, I ended up raising him pretty early on in life and seeing him through all the way to college and beyond. He's still in my wallet. Sometimes I'm his now because, you know, we got to get our payback. No, I'm kidding, guys. The bottom line is motherhood was a huge part of my life. But at the time, I was working a career in politics, doing a lot of things in that realm, which did not allow me to be available to my children in a way that I really wanted to. So I decided to look into what types of work and industries that I could go into that might give me the opportunity to be more available to my kids, but also give me an opportunity to make some good money, because I understood that in order to give them the best possible life and myself the best possible chance at comfort and quality of life, I had to make some money. So I started playing around with industries, and to be honest, I didn't find anything in that moment, but I was stressed and I was under a lot of pressure, kind of processing this new diagnosis and this change in my life that really I knew could potentially be for the rest of my living years. So while I made that adjustment, I decided to have a ladies' night in. Now, I invited my friends over. A friend of mine had actually just started doing pleasure parties for a company that's no longer in existence today. And when she came out, we had a great time. It was nice to let my hair down, see some toys and vibrators. And I was single momming at the time, so I had to get me a little something too to pass some time. But what changed me was the business side of me has always been here. I formed my first business in politics as a strategist, KJ Strategy Group, which is still thriving today. But it kind of made me curious about how much money she was making off of me and my friends. And when I asked that question and I got the answer, I knew it was money that I felt like I absolutely wanted to touch. And I also thought, if we really, really press down on this, baby, we could really own this. And I like to apply myself to the best of my ability. So I joined as a consultant, selling pleasure products and going and doing the parties for couples and singles and all kinds of events. And along that journey, I have made so many great relationships and so many new friends. And some of you might even be in this class right now. I hope you're proud of me, friend. We came a long way. But the reality of it is, I had become very, very, very vastly trained in areas around talking about pleasure, because in order to teach a person how to use certain pleasure products or guide them to which toys that they might want to get, or which arousal products or lubes they wanted to get, I had to deepen my knowledge of the body and sex as a whole. At least any responsible person who really is serious about this industry is going to do those things. So I did. And when I did, I fell in love with the rabbit hole. It had so many different tangents and ways that it could go. And I loved that it was something that was never getting boring. And I was making great money too. But on top of it, I could go out and do a party on a Friday or do a party on a Saturday and be available to my children Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, nonstop. And part of Friday, because we wasn't partying in the daytime. Now, I will not lie. I did have this group of ladies, who had them rich husbands who would call me every once in a blue for a 1:00 party on a Wednesday. Those my girls. I hope those my girls. I ain't mad at it. It'd be about 5 of them. And they knew they was about to get they get. But I really loved what it was taking me to. But one day I had an encounter at a party that was both pleasant and unpleasant at the same time. And this is what led to me becoming your sexologist bestie. I had a party that I did an intro, and as I'm starting my party, I'm saying, hey guys, I'm Kasha. I'm your girl with the thrills and the vibes and the all my crazy stuff. And I basically said in my intro, I exist for everyone, even though I'm not for everyone, because I know that everyone can't always receive my teaching style. But my goal is to make it feel relatable and to make it attainable. And sometimes it means storytelling and adding in mnemonic devices and jokes and things to lighten the mood when we're having very serious conversations about tough subjects like trauma. So I said to my party guests, whether you're here because you're already kinky and you know the kind of stuff you into, or you're just trying to see what kind of stuff I got, or you're somebody who has no idea what they enjoy about themselves, pleasure, or their bodies, I'm here for you. And you'll get an opportunity to sit with me one-on-one where we can have a deep conversation, and which that information won't be between anybody but us. I know a lot of you guys are here with your best friends, but the truth of the matter is not a lot of best friends want to tell their friend, my man can't keep his penis up and they're having erectile dysfunction, or I can't slob a good knob, or all those types of things. There are certain subjects that sometimes you simply even don't want to tell those friends, because there are a lot of things like judgment and other things that can come along with it. And quite frankly, it's also letting them into your partner's business, and that might not be something that they want either. So I'm here for you, is what I said. I had no idea what I was saying. But as I continued the party, we had a good time. We played around with lotions and potions, because we always start from the bathroom and end at the bedroom. Okay, baby. And as I took them through this, I had a guest who came to the order room at the end of the night. And as soon as I closed the door, she looked at me. I looked at her, and she started crying. And I was completely confused. I said, baby, we selling dildos here today while we're crying. We don't want to cry about no dildo, And what she said to me is, I'm crying because I want to buy a sex toy. And I said, again, baby, why are we crying? She laughed because she realized how ridiculous it sounded. And she said to me, can I be honest with you? I said, always. Baby, after we talk about your vagina, we don't get much closer than this. And now you understand where your sexologist bestie came from and where that phrase came from. Because I said it to this young lady, like, I'm your best friend after we talk about your coochie. It's just no other way to look at it. And I know things that some people's best friends don't know about them. And she said to me, I have been sexually assaulted. And even though I am a social worker who works directly with other people on trauma, I have never healed my own. And we had a moment for 2 reasons, because I absolutely empathize with this young woman, but also because I wasn't qualified. I wanted to help her, but I wasn't qualified. I could sell her a toy, but that was the extent. I could probably guide her towards products and toys that would be easier for a beginner, which I did, and help her start out with things that might help her get to know her body's pleasure responses. Because the one thing I have learned about toys, and I go deeper into the pleasure map conversation that I have about trauma in another class, but understanding your body's yes and no responses to things can help you set better boundaries in all areas of your life. And also understanding how it might feel when you're doing something that you truly don't want to do, or have a better understanding of the feelings you have when someone takes away your ability to say whether you want it or not. And I wanted her to start off with something that felt mild, but that would also be useful to her, even if she ended up not liking it for pleasure. So I introduced her to a product we have called Make Me Over. It's one of our oldest vibes, one of the first products that we got here at Bedroom Candy at the time. And I said to her, This product is something that you can use to massage your clitoris externally. You can use it to rub on your nipples. It's very simple. It's discreet. It doesn't look like a toy, so there wasn't a lot of intimidation with this product. But because of the surface being flat, it also aided as a great massage tool that you can use on your neck to kind of massage your back or to do it with a couple. So no matter what, you would always get use out of this product, no matter what. But I want you to pay attention to when you use it to what your body is saying yes to and what your body is saying no to. And then I offered her resources and connected her with a few experts that I knew who could continue to guide her. But I knew that day that I never not wanted to be that expert. I knew that that was going to be the last time someone came up to me with a circumstance like that and that I couldn't help them deeper than just the surface level. So that was when I decided to venture into what I would need to do to be more capable of helping folks. Now, transparently, I didn't have medical background or anything like that. I wasn't a doctor, so I had to be very careful about how I did this. And I found out about clinical sexology. That I could become a clinical sexologist who was board certified and equipped with the knowledge and information and the certifications to guide a person. There are limits to the type of work that I tap into, but in the course of my work, I have made so many great connections that I have phenomenal gynecologists, therapists, sex therapists, counselors, family, social workers, all kind of stuff within my network where combined and coming together, we're able to give my clients a holistic approach at recovery from those types of things. And it felt good to know that while me and her therapist worked together to help tag team some of the psychological challenges that come with a sexual assault, I was able to work with her on the physical elements that will also help her body reconnect positively to sex in ways that helped her feel great and hopeful about moving forward. She's just one of my many people who I came across who changed my life, and I love her for that, and she knows who she is. But I've had so many clients over the years who've come to me with interesting different challenges that I've been helpful in helping them navigate. And I mean, one time I had one of my clients literally FaceTime me at 2:00 in the morning with her partner's semen on her shoulder. And she's like, he came on me. He came on me, girl. I'm opening my phone and she's naked. And I'm like, oh, girl, what's going on? And she's like, bitch, he came on me. He came on me. And I'm like, he came on you. Yeah. And I'm sitting there and my partner at the time was looking at me like, what is wrong with y'all? Y'all call each other when someone nut on you? What they didn't understand is that this client was somebody whose husband had a form of erectile dysfunction in which he was receiving an erection, but no matter what happened or what she did, she simply couldn't make him come and he couldn't make himself come even independently. And while he was working on his dysfunction with his medical doctors, she still wanted to find a way to feel like she could please her partner. And I offered her some tricks and I pointed her in the direction of certain products. And I told her, you're going to have to use this consistently for like a month before you start seeing some real impacts. And it may or may not work, but she was willing to try. And I love that because effort is so important, guys, and everything that we do here. But ultimately, she called me that day because he finally came. And to someone else, that might not be a big deal, but to me, it was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Oh. I know I like when I get came on a little bit too, you know what I'm saying? But the point is, while you're here, understand that this is a community that I'm building because I don't just get paid to do this. I really love it. I am someone who has experienced, unfortunately, sexual assault twice in my life. I have experienced domestic violence in my life. I have experienced reproductive traumas and child loss, both of miscarriage and by way of pushing children into this world who simply didn't make it. And this is a trigger for anyone. I apologize for bringing it up, but I'm saying it to you understand, best friend, I understand. And even the traumas that I have not experienced, I've taken a lot of time in my professional career to get a really strong understanding of them by way of studying and through my encounters of working with various people with different challenges. So please know that here you are in a community filled with love, understanding, patience, but also filled with great knowledge, information, and hope. That even if you are here for navigating different sexual challenges, There is a light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm sharing that with you because I feel by letting you know a little bit about me, you might not feel any kind of anxiety about continuing to go forth in this community and being vulnerable, but also understand that we have to form community with each other. So, with that being said, let me help you understand what are the rules of this community.